America's youngest generation, known as Gen Alpha, growing up in a world dominated by screens, failing schools, and now artificial intelligence. And in a world with rapidly advancing technology, their future could be at risk if something doesn't change fast. Joining us now is Dr. Zachary Marschall, editor-in-chief of Campus Reform, to explain why reading real books, not screens, is the key to keeping Gen Alpha ahead of the AI curve. I love that we're talking about this. This is so important. You know, you've warned that, with collapsing literacy rates and the rise of AI, Gen Alpha really in danger of falling even further behind. What's putting this generation right now at such a disadvantage?
It's the same technology craze that we've seen with Gen Z, that people are putting screens in front of their children. They're giving them TV shows, games instead of books, and that is leading to not just a lack of literacy, but a lack of confidence and a great deal of anxiety. The difference is that Gen Z was caught in this learning loss plus COVID, whereas Gen Alpha, the more or less they're still children. So my op-ed in the Daily Wire says, now that we're more aware of the problem and we're seeing some progress, let's apply those lessons to Gen Alpha, who still have time to be course corrected as opposed to Gen Z. So let's pay more attention to Gen Alpha right now and help put more books in front of them and help them with their reading and writing comprehension, which will help everyone later in life, no matter what field they go into.
Exactly. And also not have complete dependence on digital technology for entertainment. And you argue the real fix is not from the school systems, obviously, but from parents by making reading at home a priority. Again, talk about how critical this is in this AI-driven world that we're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all know that the education system in this country is broken, and it's really up to the parents. If you haven't been putting books in front of your children before, you should really start doing now. And I think the biggest misconception is that you have to put classics and very hefty or like famous titles in front of your children. That is not true. The best way to do it, to decrease screen time and start them on better habits, is to figure out what kind of games, what kind of shows they're actually looking at on screens and finding books on those topics. If you have a kid who's a sports fan, find books about sports, or find books about famous people who did professions that your kids idolize. That at least starts decreasing it. You're never going to go cold turkey, but you can at least start the gradual process of rectifying that balance.
Yeah, and of course we know writing is a necessary skill. It also helps you to apply critical thinking, self-awareness. I mean, this is something they're going to be taking with them to adulthood. You know, we keep hearing the future belongs not to kids who use AI well, but to kids who can think better than AI. What skills does reading develop that technology cannot replace?
It develops critical thinking, it develops discretion, it develops original ideas. AI does not create original ideas. It just repackages things that are already thought and published before into new phrases and words for people to use. So it's a helpful tool for people with that metacognition and critical thinking, people of older generations, but it's not going to help people who never learned that in school. I've been teaching students from middle school to PhD for over 10 years now, and I've seen across all levels that there is just a complete lack of original thinking and self-awareness that there was, when I first started. And people right now need that time developing their own reading habits, developing their own writing time, to develop those independent skills that no machine can replicate. And that's why it's so important.
All right, editor-in-chief of Campus Reform, Dr. Zachary Marschall. Always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.